Well, the tourist attraction that calls itself the British royal family has a problem tonight that it has not had since 1647. The family in whose name crimes against humanity and freedom have been committed around the world for centuries suffered its first arrest in 379 years today. The little brother character called Andrew, who now goes by an invented last name, was arrested on suspicion of misconduct in public office. It is a crime taken so seriously in British common law, where it has mostly rested quietly for hundreds of years, that the crime carries a maximum penalty of death, as so many crimes did centuries ago when British common law was taking formation. It was an announcement that no one wanted to make, and so it fell to Assistant Chief Constable Oliver Wright to tell the world today in writing, quote, "Following a thorough assessment, we have now opened an investigation into this allegation of misconduct in public office." The investigation was begun at the urging of an anti-monarchy group led by Graham Smith, who first notified authorities that they found evidence in the Epstein files that could indicate Andrew was passing British government secrets to his friend, the sex trafficker and child rapist Jeffrey Epstein. Julie K. Brown is the investigative reporter at the Miami Herald who illuminated the crimes of Jeffrey Epstein more fully than anyone else in the American news media. She wrote this today after Andrew's arrest. His arrest comes just 4 days after the Daily Mail reported that he passed on sensitive information about the taxpayer-owned Royal Bank of Scotland to Epstein when he was representing the UK as a trade envoy. Documents released by the U.S. Department of Justice as part of the Epstein Files Transparency Act revealed that Andrew leaked details he learned from meeting with bank executives in the wake of a $45 billion bailout. Andrew also allegedly passed on other sensitive information he learned to a banker friend, according to the Telegraph. Interestingly, Andrew's arrest is not concerning the 2011 sexual assault allegations that were brought against him by Virginia Giuffre, but it was recent stories in the British media about him passing on financial information to what the British press called his pedo mate. Andrew has denied any wrongdoing in connection with Jeffrey Epstein, but no one in Britain seems to believe that. Andrew's older brother set a very, very low bar throughout his life for Andrew's behavior to be judged better than his older brother Charles, who, while married to his first wife, was heard in a telephone call that was made public to the world, imagining himself to be a tampon for his then girlfriend, who is now his current wife. Such is the disgrace of Charles. But today, Charles has the assurance of history that his younger brother has out-disgraced him by a wide margin now. Charles said the right thing today, the thing that Donald Trump would never say and did not say when given an opportunity today. Charles issued a statement saying, quote, "I have learned with the deepest concern the news about Andrew Mountbatten Windsor and suspicion of misconduct in public office. What now follows is the full, fair, and proper process by which this issue is investigated in the appropriate manner and by the appropriate authorities. In this, as I have said before, they have our full and wholehearted support and cooperation. Let me state clearly, the law must take its course. As this process continues, it would not be right for me to comment further on this matter." Notice the contrast between what Charles said about his brother and what Donald Trump said.
I think it's a shame. I think it's very sad. I think it's so bad for the royal family. It's a very, very sad. To me, it's a very sad thing. When I see that, it's a very sad thing to see it and to see what's going on with his brother, who's obviously coming to our country very soon, and he's a fantastic man, the king. So I think it's a very sad thing. It's really interesting because nobody used to speak about Epstein when he was alive.
A very sad thing. He thinks it's very sad. The guy's brother didn't express sympathy for his brother. Charles didn't say, I think it's very sad. Donald Trump said, to me, it's a very sad thing. So Andrew getting arrested is a very sad thing to Donald Trump. And Donald Trump did not say the law must take its course. Donald Trump has never said it's a very sad thing after listening to any of the victims and survivors of Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking and rape. Donald Trump has never expressed a single word of sympathy for any one of them. But arresting a friend of Jeffrey Epstein, Donald Trump, who was Jeffrey Epstein's best friend for 10 years, thinks is very, very sad. Virginia Giuffre was 16 years old when Donald Trump's old friend Ghislaine Maxwell found her working in the spa at Donald Trump's Florida club. Ghislaine Maxwell brought Virginia Giuffre to Jeffrey Epstein's house in Florida. Previously on this program, I have read Virginia Giuffre's account of what happened there and how Jeffrey Epstein had sex with her the day he met her, in the presence and with the help of convicted sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell. Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein sex trafficked Virginia Giuffre to Andrew in London. Virginia Giuffre was a victim of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. And then for some years, she was a survivor. And last year, she could survive no more and took her own life. In her memoir, which was published shortly after she died, titled Nobody's Girl, a memoir of surviving abuse and fighting for justice, she described her first encounter with Andrew in London in detail. She said it was, quote, as if he believed having sex with me was his birthright. She said the sexual encounter was rushed. And then, quote, afterward he said, thank you, in his clipped British accent. In my memory, the whole thing lasted less than half an hour. The next morning, it was clear that Maxwell had conferred with her royal chum because she told me, you did well. The prince had fun. Epstein would give me $15,000 for servicing the man the tabloids called Randy Andy. Today, Virginia Giuffre's family issued this statement. At last today, our broken hearts have been lifted at the news that no one is above the law, not even royalty. On behalf of our sister, Virginia Roberts Giuffre, we extend our gratitude to the UK's Thames Valley Police for their investigation and arrest of Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. He was never a prince. For survivors everywhere, Virginia did this for you. In a 2009 television interview in which Andrew desperately tried and failed to get control of the story of his friendship and possible sex trafficking with Jeffrey Epstein, Andrew denied what was already Virginia Giuffre's public accusation about being trafficked to him.
She says she met you in 2001. She dined with you. She danced with you. You bought her drinks. You were in Tramp nightclub in London. And she went on to have sex with you in a house in Belgravia belonging to Ghislaine Maxwell.
Didn't happen.
Do you remember her?
No. I have no recollection of ever meeting her. I'm almost, in fact, I'm convinced that I was never in tramps with her.
No one else was convinced by that interview. No one believed Andrew. And that interview forced his family to begin the process of cutting ties with him. That's how much they didn't believe him. In the same interview, Andrew was asked why he continued his friendship with Jeffrey Epstein, who was convicted of soliciting sex with an underage child.
In 2008, he was convicted of soliciting and procuring a minor for prostitution. He was jailed. This was your friend. How did you feel about it?
Well, I ceased contact with him after I was aware that he was under investigation. And that was later on in 2006. And I wasn't in touch with him again until 2010. So it was one of those things that if somebody's going through that sort of thing, well, I'm terribly sorry, I can't be...
so no contact?
No contact.
When he was serving time, there was no call, no letter, nothing there?
No.
He was released in July. Within months, by December of 2010, you went to stay with him at his New York mansion. Why? Why were you staying with a convicted sex offender?
Right. I have always, ever since this has happened, and since this has become, as it were, public knowledge that I was there, I've questioned myself as to why did I go, what was I doing, and was it the right thing to do? Now, I went there with the sole purpose of saying to him that because he had been convicted, it was inappropriate for us to be seen together.
In her book, Virginia Giuffre wrote about the moment she met Andrew. She wrote, "When Prince Andrew arrived at the house that evening, Maxwell was more coquettish than usual. Guess Jenna's age," she urged the prince after she introduced me. The Duke of York, who was then 41, guessed correctly. 17. "My daughters are just a little younger than you," he told me, explaining his accuracy. As usual, Maxwell was quick with a joke. "I guess we will have to trade her in soon." The lives of the people in that scene have changed dramatically. Ghislaine Maxwell is serving a 20-year sentence for sex trafficking, hoping for a pardon from Donald Trump, who has said this about his old friend Ghislaine Maxwell: "I just wish her well." And now Andrew has been arrested, and Virginia Giuffre continues to testify against him from the grave.